muffin. I don't believe in nothing anymore. You tell me I don't relate to the kids no more. Now I feel like I'm letting them down. What's the point running? I make them not be coming anymore. So what if they hear me on my bathroom floor?
I picked this up from CME, Chicago Music Exchange, on my first album tour. I believe it had been handed in by someone who'd like either got it from there or like got it made from the Fender custom shop. I don't really know how it is. And yeah, I just kind of walked in and I was like, that's dreamy, and it's kind of just my favorite telly. If I'm playing a telly, like it's just the best one to play. I have a few, but it's just got that thing, you know. Even the clean sound is just... But yeah, this has kind of been my main guitar for a while. I've gradually accumulated other ones that kind of filled other pockets. But to begin with, it was always a telly, and this has kind of come the whole way. Playing it with my JC as well. We've got two JCs, one there's a spare and there's a new one, and this is like an older one. The actual chorus and vibrato is broken on it, which is really annoying, and they're very annoying to get fixed. But we're doing it when we go home. But we're kind of just using the spare amp as like a baffle, which is a bit unorthodox and doesn't completely work, but it looks cool, and it does a little something to stop the guitars from going into the mics. The chorus and vibrato channel is so good on this. And I love that it's stereo as well, so versatility. In the gig I flick between the distortion. I love the distortion sound on it. Well, I don't know what it is, it's not valve, I don't know, but it sounds great. And I flick between the clean and the distortion, and the clean is just outrageously good. Like, it's so precise, and then, yeah, the grit is just unique and just works with everything. I have a lot of guitar changes. I run all of my guitars through the same cable, and I have an A/B switcher, so I can run straight out to the PA or to my amps. That's acoustic. So like when I'm using the acoustic, I always just flick down the clean, but I can just send it to the PA, or I can send like a combination. I sometimes just think acoustic guitars live just sound a bit flimsy, and it just gives this like body behind it, especially if we're in a really like kind of slightly rocking bit. Just gives that thing. Means the people in the front as well just get loads of it, which is great. You know, super clean is lovely, or super distorted is. But I also like, yeah, I love doubling up, particularly when I'm doing a sound like that, doubling it up with the DI, and you just get the clean. You just get like all of it together. But for some of the new album stuff, which we've barely started playing live, I'm trying to just go like straight DI for some of my electric stuff, which I love the sound of, and it's weird doing live, but it's just kind of really, really great. I tend to just build my board around the record. So there's some stuff that I've used on the records, but I rarely like take stuff off the board into the studio because it just tends to stay put. Stuff is always moving around though, stuff's always coming off and on, and like, there's a few pedals that like me and Isabel both have. One is the Judder, which is pretty essential for me at this point. It was James Ford that introduced it to me in the studio a few years ago, I think after he'd been working with Everything Everything, because they have a lot of parts that kind of use this and similar pedals to get really like tight delays, and I have it connected to this tool on here, which is, people are always asking me what this is. It's just like a MWFX who make the Judder make these, and they're like it's an extension basically of the time, and you know, that's what it does. It just very like, but yeah, we use it. I use it, Isabel uses it, and it's just like on a load of my songs at this point. And for me, it's almost like an expression thing. When I'm like playing a solo, I can just be like. You know, pretty awesome with the Bassmaster as well, which I just stole from, I saw it on St. Vincent's Pedalboard, and it's just ridiculous. The color box. I'm kind of using it to reduce the volume at the minute, which is a bit of a weird one, but it's just a kind of functional thing. I've got so much stuff making it louder. I sometimes just use it as like a pre, or like as just like a sort of distortion sort of thing, crunch. And I use it in the studio a lot as well. Like, it's an awesome gain too. I use it on like the drums in one of my songs, My House, just like running that stuff through the color box. It adds a lot. This is the Maverick Dorado. I think these are quite recent. It's just like the Parallel Universe series. I don't know actually when it came out, but just sounds great. I found it in America actually on the last year when we were on tour. Quite warm, it's quite like almost muddy some of the time. You can get lovely clean sound with this. And then it obviously just goes kind of, goes pretty insane. So it's a nice, it's maybe the middle ground between the Tele and my SG. Last year I was just using this on everything basically. Kind of always changing what guitars I want to use for what, because it just, I don't know, you start changing things slightly over the course of a tour and all of a sudden you don't like one thing, you like something else. Yeah, I got like the light pedal as well, which is like a spring reverb game changer. So this is another one that me and Isabel both have, and it's a really awkward one live, and there's not really a solution for it because it's a spring. If the stage is shaky, it's a bit of a problem, but it sounds amazing because it's a real spring, and it's got all different features like this harmonic kind of, I use this a lot. It's kind of does like an octave up, octave down. Space spiral, which my space spiral is currently a little bit broken, so I just don't know exactly what it's going to come out with every gig, which is fun. It's like a modulation delay, which I use quite a bit. I use most notably in like The Key to Life on Earth. I think it's on the record actually. It's kind of weird, it sometimes sounds like it's out of tune, but normally sounds pretty wacky and cool. I've also got the brand Canyon, which is great, and I've got a little foot controller for it as well, so I can get through the, you know, settings a little easily. I've been using this a lot. Yeah, I've been using it in Eventually Darling. It's at the end, it's like in a little pitch shift delay, but it kind of stays in key. It's cool. I love this one, although I don't really use it to its full potential live. Just got it as a chorus. It's the CF7. We use this on a track of mine called Mind. This is underrated AF, this pedal. It's got like crazy with a K and whacked. So yeah, we use this in Mind, and it's a great sound. And it really is, it's both crazy and whacked. Yeah, that was in a studio one time, and Hackney Downs studio where we were working on Mind, and eventually I just saw it and got it. That's not even full, you know, you can go just ridiculous with it. This is the super cool 800, which I just didn't really have a normal distortion. I've just been using like boost to just boost what's going on here. But I found this and I was like, you know what? This is a great sounding little, kind of warm distortion. Love it. The Keeley dynamic trem. I'm actually using the harmonic trem setting. I just use it more often in the gig, but I love the dynamic thing because you get it just moving around and it sounds very cool. So sick. The katana is just a boost. Great, sounds really good. And then I've got this, another Keeley I think, which is just a slap. I don't know, I used to like sometimes have my normal delay pedal set up to do a slap, but then just one slap and some other delay going on. Just always one slap, so yeah, and then. And then there's that. So that's the board. I just picked this up at the start of this tour in Toronto and it's kind of my favourite right now because it just absolutely fucking rips. And you can just kind of play a chord on it and it'll last forever. It's a lawsuit era. I think it's only from the 90s, so, but it's just like a total rip-off Gibson. It's just awesome. It's just fun to use. Like this one actually surprisingly sounds super good when I've got my amp clean. So much louder than the other guitars, so that probably just is a lot of the magic. Really, it's just a ton louder, and yeah, and I just love that it's not real. It's a total knockoff, and it's just great. But yeah, there's points where I just run it through a bunch of pedals, and like there's a bit in like Why Did You Feel So Down where I do all of this, and I love that because I'm always running shit through pedals, so I just want to be able to do it live as well. There's the light pedal going off, so it's being a bit reactive. It sounds great, like, so yeah, there's like a couple moments where it's really handy to just be able to have everything going through my pedal board right in front of me. So yeah, this is an Ovation. It's kind of my favourite guitar though. Like I wish I was playing it, but I just got guitars in the gig. Like I was like, Isabel, you should play this. It was in a guitar shop in Brighton. I don't know, it just looked a bit odd. This is weird. People sometimes laugh at this, but I think it's cool, it's fine. I believe what I was told at the shop was that this was made in the 60s by Hofner for a range of guitars that didn't do very well. And so they sold them, and they wound up being sold to Ovation. And so the actual guitar was put together in America in the 60s, I guess. I was told like 68, something like that, I don't know. Who cares? And it's just really woody. Like, I love a woody guitar. I don't know if it's the sound or the feeling or what, but like when something feels a little bit fragile, woody. Keep saying woody, but that's what I like about it. I don't know. Is my bass. It is Hofner violin bass. I got it from Macari's in Hampstead Heath. We got this going through this basement. I'm pretty sure it's the late 60s, and I sent this to a pretty knowledgeable dude to get it serviced, and he said like the insides were like the cleanest he'd ever seen on a bass that old, and like all the old stuff as well. It had just been in a studio, looked really well looked after. Treble as well, sounds really good. This is Henry's world. I'm just living in it. And he also has a VT4, which he uses on a bunch of stuff. He plays the flute, I do not. We have this Mellotron, which is mine. Great for all sorts of things. Handy that is small. Big fan of just things that aren't bigger than they need to be. Yeah, it's Mellotron, sounds great. I'm very happy we're using this. It's a Super 6. It just sounds great. It's like a binaural synth by UDO, who I guess are a relatively new company out of Bristol, and they've just made such an awesome synth. This is one we're using in our cover of George Harrison's All Things Must Pass, a George Harrison we've been playing every night, I should know by now. Like, it's just one of those things I picked up, and then after using it for a while at home, I was just like, it's just got to be in the gig. I was using a Prophet for a while, which was like, cool, but this is like, it's more mysterious to me. I don't really know what's going on, but eventually we just find a good sound and we're like, save it! And then just where the magic happens, and Henry's always messing around with this stuff. And just getting it kind of slightly different every night. And like, I have some weird vocal sounds on some of my records, particularly some of the stuff I've been working on has stuff that I was just like, I need to have something that can react to what I'm doing. There's certain songs that we had like weird vocal stuff on track before, but I've just kind of tried to alleviate any track really across near enough the whole show. So there's like a bit of a reverb thing that's a weird sound. This is all cued by MIDI, so my actual sounds, you know, I don't really know which one is which. But, you know, and I can, there's points in the set where I play with the reverb delay and play with the preaching before. So I guess this is based off of the VT1. And harmonies as well. It's really good for, you know, little moments where I just want a couple Declan singing. Hey, We haven't worked that bit into the set explicitly, but we've been talking about it.
Gold, let it unfold. Imagine you're dressed in gold. Roaring crowds in Manchester.